Keffe D, the man arrested for the murder of Tupac, has came up with a brilliant idea on how to get out of jail.
When prosecutors charged this man with ordering the hit, the only person arrested for Shakur's murder, who now tells ABC News authorities have the wrong man.
I'm innocent. I ain't killed nobody, never did ever kill nobody. They don't have no evidence against me. Came and put me in Las Vegas.
61-year-old Dwayne Keffe D. Davis says the night of the murder, September 7, 1996, he was in Los Angeles, 300 miles from the Las Vegas intersection where Tupac Shakur was gunned down.
Prove that I orchestrated this. You know what I'm saying? Your key witness orchestrated this. They top witness is the lead suspect.
The defense pointing to someone else, Reggie Wright Jr., a former cop and security guard for record mogul Suge Knight, who was driving the car Tupac was in the night he was shot. Wright has denied any involvement and has said, "It bothers me because I was in charge of possibly protecting this young man."
Yo, that lawyer getting paid for nothing, bro. Yo, that lawyer getting paid to have ChatGPT write their defense, bro. What jury are you going to convince that Tupac's own bodyguard is who shot and killed him? Like, that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, but let's hear out Keffe D, bro. Feel me? Let's actually give him an honest ear to see what he has to say.
And prosecutors say Davis incriminated himself in his 2019 memoir, Compton Street Legend, and in this on-camera interview.
You said the shots came from the back. Who shot Tupac?
The keeper for the code of the streets. It just came from the back seat, bro.
Davis now says his previous admissions connected with the shooting were made under duress and for money, claiming he did not write his own memoir and was fed information by police.
I shouldn't have said nothing. You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't have said nothing. And I'm innocent, man.
Listen, man, I'm not a professional criminal, so this may be out of my depth. But do you know what I've never seen in life? I've never seen somebody confess on multiple occasions and go to trial and say, "I lied," and it worked. I've never seen that, bro. I've never seen somebody offer up a confession that led to the police really piecing together the case and everything they confessed to lined up perfectly, and then they go to trial and say, "I lied during my confession." That's usually how, that's not usually how that works, all right? Like, no, like usually that confession is sticking, bro, and you gonna get locked up for it. Now, Keffe D is claiming that he made the confession right when he agreed to the proffer agreement. That can't be brought to trial, by the way, but he made that confession, under duress because they were trying to get him for some other case. He made the confession just to get it out the way. But then he also went on multiple interviews on multiple YouTube channels and multiple platforms offering up additional details. But he claims he did those interviews too just to make money.
So were you there that night in that car? What was your role?
No, I wasn't there. I wasn't there at all. No car, nothing. I wasn't even in Vegas. They ain't got no proof I was in Vegas. They ain't got no gun, no car, no Keffe D, no nothing.
He's relying on the fact that it's been 30 years. This is his Hail Mary. 30 years. Hey, listen, man, y'all don't got the gun. It's 30 years, Y'all don't got no video footage. It was 30 years ago, right? So he's relying on the fact that, hey, bruh, 30 years ago, they don't have the things that they may need to really convict me outside of my own confession, which, listen, I think the confession is enough. But outside of that, though, bro, if they're bringing charges after 30 years, I'm sure they probably have the hotel reservations and certain things that they investigated when the murder first happened, right? Because they didn't just start investigating in 2024. They've been investigating for 30 years. But he's relying on the fact that 30 years ago, I'm hedging my bet on they don't got enough tangible evidence to tie him to the scene, man.
Murder, an unsolved case since 1996 when he was shot and killed near the Las Vegas Strip. As first reported by the 8 News Now investigators, Metro Police arrested Davis in 2023 after he wrote a book and gave interviews stating he passed the gun to the shooter.
I was just trying to make money.
How much money do you think you made from the book and the interviews?
Davis insisting he'd be released from jail since our first visit.
I feel like this is low-key the only defense bro can really take, man. After about 15 to 20 years of telling on yourself, this is probably the only stance he could take. But saying that Reggie Wright did this, knowing that Reggie Wright is still alive and can speak for himself, to me is a big mistake. Because all that does now is incentivize Reggie Wright to actually come to court and actually take the stand against you. Right? So if I'm him, bro, I would just say, hey, bro, I ain't do it. Y'all prove I did it, bro. I was not in Vegas. But I believe they have Keffe D's wife who made a reservation on behalf of them. Now, it's unclear whether or not, they have surveillance. Because again, the night it happened, they've been investigating since the night that Tupac died. So I'm sure they probably have cameras from the hotel, which shows Keffe D was actually in Vegas. But let's just rewind a little bit, all right? And take a look at the proffer agreement and some of the things that incriminate Keffe D. So just for context, we're going to start the confession off at the point where Keffe D says how they found Tupac. They were leaving the club that Tupac was scheduled to be at. They didn't see Tupac at that club. While leaving the club, Pac was actually coming to the club to honor his obligations of being booked to host the club. And while they were leaving, Pac was coming, but they didn't know Pac was coming until they heard women screaming out the window, Tupac, Tupac, Tupac. That's when they seen Tupac was nearby and they made a U-turn.
Bros, Tupac, Tupac. We like, there they go. Made a U-turn. We wasn't supposed to make it. Just wanted a U-turn. They was in the middle lane. We just pulled up on the side, checked every car, see where they was.
So what directed your attention to him was some girl shouting at Tupac?
Tupac! He gave himself away. Otherwise, they would have got away.
Keffe D would explain that when they bust a U-turn and finally pulled up on Tupac and Suge, that he had every intention of shooting Tupac, but he couldn't shoot Tupac because they bust a U-turn. And when they bust a U-turn, where he was seated in the passenger seat, he no longer had the leverage or position to shoot Tupac, who was also in the passenger seat of the other vehicle, because there were people in between them. So what he did next, what he confessed to next, was just outright idiotic.
I thought he was going to pull on my side. That's my little nephew. I'm going to look out for him, And he pulled on his side.
So you were fitting to blast if you had to, or you were just...
Yeah, if we would have been on our side, I would have blasted.
Okay.
Here's a chart of where they were seated. So Keffe D passed the gun to Dre, who was next to Pac, but Dre said nah.
I gave it to Dre, and Dre was like, no. And Lane's like, give it to Pop, dude.
So Orlando shot across Dre?
He leaned over on the window, rolled down the window, Pop.
So Orlando would have had to lean over the top of Dre, right?
Yeah. He did.
You say Suge looks over, he sees you?
Yeah.
He looks right at you?
Yeah, he looks at me.
Why are you looking right at me?
Fucking known each other since we were 7, 8 years old.
So once Keffe D confessed, they began to sort of just go back and run through everything. And everything he confessed to lined up perfectly with what the police have already investigated. So that's how they knew, okay, he's credible. Now, also too, though, an eyewitness actually would place Keffe D in Vegas that night. Las Vegas Police Department was able to obtain a statement from an eyewitness who could testify that Orlando Anderson was bleeding from the head, and that also they overheard Zip, the New Yorker, tell Keffe D, I got artillery in the car. He also heard Zip and Keffe D plotting Tupac's murder. Here's what's interesting. During Keffe D's proffer, he had no idea that this witness statement about him talking to Zip was already out there. Keffe D, during the proffer, would tell the police that Diddy and was working through Zip, that Diddy put a bag on Tupac's head. Zip was a New Yorker, so Zip was telling Keffe D, yo, the bag is still up, you feel me? So Keffe D is telling the police this, that he had a conversation with Zip in Vegas about money being on Tupac's head, without knowing the police already had an eyewitness who identified that this happened. So Keffe D is confirming things during the police investigation without even knowing that they exist. So for him to say that he's lying, it's like kind of like, bro, this is not the defense you want to take to trial, bro. Like, they are about to really cook you. Now, the man that Keffe D is now accusing of being a killer, right, which is Reggie Wright, which, again, I don't believe Reggie Wright is the killer at all, right? Reggie Wright was Tupac's bodyguard. Reggie Wright was loyal to Suge. I don't believe that Reggie Wright had anything to do with this. But Reggie Wright would respond back to Keffe D, and here's what he had to say.
Oh, of course, you better say that. You better come out with some defense. But you catch the words, he used them very carefully. But, hey, Keffe D, only person he has to blame for sitting in prison right now is Keffe D. It's so funny to me how other channels and people like that say they confess their love for Tupac. It's obviously showing that y'all hate Tupac Shakur because y'all trying to do everything under the book to believe or to muddy up the investigation or to say Reggie Wright Jr. has something to do with the murder of Tupac Shakur. I mean, I could see y'all saying that if Keffe D said, no, Reggie hired me. Reggie's the one that called me and told me where Tupac and them was going and all of that. That's why we did what we did. He's trying to say he wasn't even in Vegas. I guess his wife was just she do get around a little bit. She did, she has, and all of that, because we know what Buncher and them was doing to her. So maybe she was just ordering rooms or something like that for other niggas or something like that on that particular night. Hey, well, my wife, my girls back then, when I was somewhere, they would order rooms for me as well. I put stuff in their names, as we all have done. That's what Keffe did. Keffe D used to use James McDonald's wife, or girl at the time, to have cars in her name. That's what Keffe was doing back then. But, he played the word game and said, prove it. Prove it. But what you all missing, all you trolls and stuff like that, Reggie, you going down? Yeah, I'm shaking in my boots. Scared like a motherfucker. If y'all only knew. But the main thing the prosecutor said, y'all listen to this part. Hopefully John will play it over and over and over again. Don't know if he will, but if he does, this is what he said.
Prosecutors decline to respond directly to Davis's new claims. They say their case is strong and they expect a conviction.
This is what the prosecution said.
Also, too, when Reggie Wright says things like, only if y'all knew, pay attention. Because every update we had regarding this Keffe D case came from Reggie Wright. Reggie Wright was the one who told us Keffe D was getting arrested when he got arrested. So Reggie Wright knows a lot about this case, and he knows a lot about what the prosecutors has, what the indictment was about. Bro, he knows everything, right? He knows what the grand jury saw. He knows the evidence the grand jury saw to indict Keffe D. So Reggie Wright knows a lot about this case. So if Keffe D is thinking like he's about to, I don't know, like get the prosecutors to turn on Reggie Wright, where Reggie Wright has been somebody who's been, again, I don't want to say helpful because, the OG is not a rat, so I don't know, right? But, the OG has been around, and he has seen a lot about this case, that he can pretty much tell you, bro, Keffe D is cooked. But y'all let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think about this, man? Y'all think Keffe D cooked? Or nah, let me know, right? And if you're still watching, click on this video here somewhere on my screen to find out how this delusional washed rapper is panicking after finding out his career is over. I'm gonna see you guys in this video right here, right? I'm out of here, folks.